Alright folks, we're back with the T-28 1.2 meter nose gear repair, hopefully. Part 2. Where we left off, we were soldering this stuff. Soldering iron was getting cool and I was running out of memory. So now we're back. Let's see how the progress ensues. That is tremendous so far. No, it's not strong though. We will make it strong. By the way, throttle cuts on and tested. Okay, so we'll go ahead and stand this up now that we have access to the rear half of this. We should be able to go ahead and wrap it even tighter with another piece of wire. Okay, and this is a critical step. We want it to be as tight as possible while still maintaining that it's not as heavy as you can possibly make it. So we're just going to find another wire in our junk wire. It's got to be braided. It's braided, but it looks like it's maybe not super fine. I think it'll work. But it would be nice to have it cohesive with the other piece, so I'll take a little bit of this. This is the same wire that we used before. Just going to get in there and strip off. Oh, I'd say probably 6 inches of wire would be the max we would need. Keep in mind that all this stuff weighs something, so you don't want to go too overboard, because you will eventually make your plane super heavy and it will be horrible. Okay, so I'm doing a smart thing and twisting this, and that one straggler, goodbye. Okay, so we got this one piece, not super long, and we're going to hopefully get this right this time. I'm going to start about an inch back, and I'm going to do something different this time. I'm going to take and I'm going to twist it, and I'm going to twist it, and then I'm going to twist it, and then I'm going to twist it, and then I'm going to twist it, and I'm going to twist it, and so on and so forth, until I'm satisfied, which I am currently satisfied with the tautness. Okay? And I'm going to go around like so until such a time that it's mostly tight-ish. I still don't feel like it's tight, and I don't know that it will get tight. Maybe this repair is not going to work, but that's the beauty of me doing this and not you doing this. Okay, I have an outlet up there I'm going to use if I need it. Cleaning the tip. Probably a little less critical on this application. We're going to go to super deadly leaded solder here. For extra weight. Just kidding, guys. We don't want the extra weight. We just want it to be extra awesome. Okay, we're plugged in now, so it'll keep hot. Okay. Okay, so now what we're going to do is work from the top down if you can. Just going to let it get hot so I get a little solder on the tip. Come on, guys. Get in there, would you? It's just not wanting to transfer on there very good. We're going to go back to the other solder. We'll try this stuff here. Okay, so you'll see that the landing gear is trying to relax on me, which is super awesome. It's probably my favorite part of this project so far. And you see how it's fallen over? Guys, it's all part of the show. It's all part of the show. That's why you don't use your good pillows, guys. I just suspect that there's way too much play in this, guys. It's got me nervous that this isn't going to work. And I could be right or totally wrong. But I think I'm leaning toward being totally wrong on this one. But we'll see. I know a lot of you guys would just have been like, whatever, just spend the 46 bucks and get it over with. Well, I'm working on that right now. Oh, yeah, that's probably not going to work so hot like that. So I think part of my issue is that I've got this stupid heat shrink in here. And it's screwing with me big time. Whoops. That was not what I wanted to happen. And that solder dripped on top of the retract. Okay, I think I'm going to change gears. I think I'm going to have to admit defeat on this plan. So I'm going to take this away for now. We are going to come back and continue this. But I'm just going to pause it. And then you get to watch what happens. Alright guys, we're back. I got a different piece of wire. We're going to try this a little bit different. I cleaned off all the stuff, including the heat shrink. I think that was part of my biggest problem there. Okay, so we're going to clean the tip, then we're going to come in here and make sure it receives solder. Yeah, it's wicking. Okay, as long as it's wicking, then we can use it. So now what we have to do is we have to somehow fix these two together in a temporary method. Or I mean in a somewhat permanent method. And it's much easier said than done to hold all this crap together while you're trying to get perfect alignment, which I don't think perfect alignment is going to even be possible. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold this here. I tried using CA, and the CA and heat shrink precluded us from getting it down. I wonder if I can use a clamp to hold it on there. Well, the other thing I have is this stainless steel hollow tube, which we could try to slide over this. We could also use a brass tube that would allow us to slide it over the outside, and that might hold it. Plus then that would take solder. I'm just curious if I even have a piece wide enough to go over this. Wonder what this would do. Nope, not wide enough to go over it. So that doesn't do us any good for today. So what I'm going to do is I have to figure out a way to brace everything together real quick. Or maybe I can just do a little bit over here. That's a good idea. We'll try that. Maybe we try that first. I don't really care which side that ends up on. I guess I'd probably prefer it on this side. So we just have to twist this around here. We're going to get like, I would say 3 or 4 wraps if we can get it. And whatever we can get, it's got to be fairly tight. Okay. So it's feeling tight-ish. And now mechanically, I want that thing really tight, so ideally I'll take something like a pair of pliers, maybe like these flat tipped ones. I'm just going to twist this like a twisty tie, you know, and just twist the crap out of it, and that's going to make it really tight, but it's going to eventually break the wires. And I guess that's okay, because like it feels pretty solid now. It's not going to move from that position. So now at this point I can take those wires and go around again, doubled up. Okay, that's feeling a little better, guys. It's got a little bit of twistiness to it, but that's okay, because that's going to go away when we solder it. Okay. So now I'm going to just take and solder this. Of course, I'm not doing it on the bench, which is sort of stupid, but whatever. This is where everything's set up now, so we'll do it over here. I'm going to just point this over in case I drip. Okay, getting a lot of solder in there, as much as possible. letting it wick is the best way, of course. Okay, and then you just pull a little bit more of this stuff out, trying to keep it right above the work. Okay, so I'm going to actually pull this. No, that's okay where it is. Guys, sometimes on my build videos things don't go so smooth, but I figure if I show you how I achieved my failure, you can avoid it. But it is kind of annoying to watch a video where somebody screws something up and they have to redo it. That's what fast forward's for, I guess. But when they're 2 parts long, it's a little annoying, so I appreciate the frustration that might cause you guys, because it would cause me the same frustration. So, okay, so it's allowed to spin, but it's tight. It's tight in that position. So once we let that cool, then we'll do the other side being fixed on there. Try not to run into that with your thigh. Okay, so now that that's on there and it's cooling, I can start getting my alignment kind of figured out. Okay, so it looks like now that's going to go over to the front, which is fine. I don't really have a problem with the way that looks, as long as it functions okay. Okay, so it looks like that. It's pretty hot still. Not so hot I can't touch it or manipulate it a little bit. But it would be nice to be able to manipulate it back a little. The good news is it's not wanting to move, which is what I wanted after all. I just don't think I have the exact alignment I'm gonna want. Woo, that was hot. Got a little pressure on a hotter spot. Okay, that's actually pretty good right there. See how the wheel is, and it's kind of wrapping into the front. I can live with that. So that's going the right way already. So it's wrapping, it's wanting to continue around. I would say clockwise or counterclockwise, but what point of reference are you using? It's a broken component. Top or bottom? From the wheel side or from the plane side? Okay, so I only got a few wraps out of that, but it's holding on there better than I've had it holding on there. Oh, of course I don't quite have the angle right either, which is okay. I mean, of course we're gonna tweak that. Okay, so I think I need to try to bend that a little bit more too. And when I say bend it, I mean I probably need to take a second and get this angle changed a little bit so it's pointed back this way. This is also going to give us an idea as to whether or not this is going to be strong enough. Oh boy, that's really strong. Surprisingly strong. You see how hard I'm bending that, guys? That's really promising. That makes me feel a lot better about this potentially working. Okay, so now we'll stick this down there. And we're a little bit closer, but we still got a little bit of a gap. So I'm going to go ahead and bend it a little bit more. It's so weird, this is totally how I broke it at the field, bending it like that. Of course I was bending the landing gear itself. Okay, so that feels like it's getting in there and getting nice tight position. Okay, so I'm just going to wrap this really as tight as I can make it. Okay, so now that's held in position at least. I wouldn't want to cycle the gear yet because I don't think it's going to stay in position. So now we just need to find a little something for wire that would work. Look at that. I think it's the same wire, guys. Look at that. That's stainless steel stuff. Yes. Stainless steel looking. It's probably not stainless steel though. And we'll take this and hopefully we can do that same twisty tie trick. Okay, so obviously we need to try to get the alignment tweaked, but I can tweak the alignment a number of different ways, preferably with linkages. Okay, so I'm gonna take this around here like this time, and I'm gonna just take and twist it, twist it, twist it, twist it. You'll notice I left a lot of tail on this too this time, just because I want to be able to get onto it better than I did the last time. I need longer pliers, guys. Probably these with a bend. Move the prop out of the way. And some of you guys are surely thinking, which is a perfectly acceptable thought, why don't you just buy the parts, Brian? Well, yeah, you could do that. And yes, I probably make enough that I could actually come out ahead buying the parts. But it's like there's only so many hours a week that you're working. And I don't mind working on planes. I'm not crazy about it. I'd rather just fly them. But let's be practical, guys. When you fly airplanes, if you're like me, you're pretty much always producing your next repair, because these things just get beat up. I mean, it's real life here, you know. Things don't last forever. Things do break. Okay, so I'm just kind of trying to hold this as tight as I can up against the wheel here, the little nub. This is a lot harder than I thought it would be to twist this around and make it tight, but it does feel like it's pretty tight. Now I just hope the solder, when wicking in, will make up for my indiscretions. I'm so reluctant to do it, but I gotta cycle the gear. I can actually make it. I can make that work, I think. That's good. Okay, so now the scary part again. Clean the tip. You know what I'm going to do, just to be on the safe side? I'm going to grab this little thing. I always seem to use this to catch solder. I'm just going to tuck this up under here, because I'm going to be putting a lot of solder on this. And then if it drips, I at least have one layer of protection, so it keeps it out of the retract mechanism itself. Okay, here we go. My hope is that that solder will flow between the pieces and not just into the wire. But I gotta have it flow in such a way that the wheel doesn't fall over, which it's gonna weaken the solder joint at the top when it's hot, because it's one contiguous piece. See, it's wanting to fall over, guys. So I'm gonna have to figure out a way to brace that so that it stays. I gotta keep it up the whole project. Okay. Time to think. I have literally got my thinking cap on. And I think what I need to do is something like this would be fine. I mean, why would you not want to use something meltable, right? Okay, so let's get really permanent here. Let's get really permanent. Let's tape it on there. Okay. Got a piece of tape. Now why the tape, guys? Well, the tape is going to keep this so that things hopefully don't slip and slide around once we heat up the wheel, once we heat up the assembly, it's going to want to like fall over again. So this hopefully will prevent that from happening. I don't know if you caught that, but I put a tail on there. And since this is all white, of course that's probably touched up at some point from my crashes. That's going to keep that in place. Okay, let's hope this works, guys. Alright, so it's all held in place. Goodness gracious, a lot of steps on this. Now we're going solder crazy, guys. You want to work as quick as you can, but still get it hot enough to get a good penetration into that wire. Now some people use this to build custom landing gear out of brass tubes and use steel and brass and stuff, and it's quite effective. Just keep it in mind, you are going to be adding a little bit of weight when you do it this method. Which, you know, like I said, you got a nose gearless T-28. So unless you intend to make it a tail dragger somehow, which would be pretty cool actually. Which, I mean, it'd be cool, but I wouldn't want it. I want this thing as a tricycle, you know? That's what I want out of this plane. My favorite part of this plane has got to be the takeoffs and landings. Just that beautiful lift. Okay, see, it dripped. No big deal, I can live with that. Okay. So now my goal is to try to get as much solder up into this area where all those actual members stick together, with hopes that they'll actually be stronger. Now it's wanting to drip again. Dang it. I want to kind of get the drips away. Okay. I don't know that I can do any more solder on this current revision. I may have to take some wire and stuff it into that hole, like chinking on a log cabin. Okay. So we're going to let that sit for a minute or two. It's going to take a second to cool, of course. And then the drips. We got to separate those drips actually before they get totally cooled here. Okay, we'll just cut it away like that. Okay, just push that up. You can shape it a little bit. Okay, now while that's cooling, we'll take this over and drop it. I always keep this stuff in my little solder and whatever tray. And that just gives me a chance to allow it to cool before I throw it in the trash can so that I don't start a fire. That was really quiet. How the heck did that not make more noise? My guess is it probably didn't actually make it in the garbage can, so I'll be stepping on that shortly. If you want to know what that noise was, it was me running into this. Okay, so as this really probably super hot piece cools, I don't know if that's strong yet, but I can tell it's intact. It's one piece. It's contiguous. Let's untape this thing. Okay. We'll just lay that thing. I don't even know what that thing is from. Oh, yes. Yes, I do. UMX Habu. That's been around a long time, man. Might as well do some flap tests, too. Oh, yeah. Always a good idea to make sure that your rudder movement doesn't cause a problem when it's collapsed. Now, heat. Wow, it's hot, but you got to really hold it to feel it. Guys, I don't know if that's strong or not. It's moving a little bit, so that's not good. See, I guess at this point, now that I have metal wrapping it, I could probably just cover it in CA and call it a day. That was a hilarious rhyme. But I honestly can't tell you if that's going to be strong enough or not. I guess the obtuseness of this piece, this fixture, has really left me in a tight spot, because I would just as soon bought the part. If it had been $7 or $8, I'd have just bought the dang thing. But Horizon, there are times that you hit people's limits. This happened to be mine. I'm sure there's plenty of people who think that's totally reasonable. And that's fine. You guys have your privilege of thinking that too. Hey, by the way, I want to show you a trick. Watch this. This is a hot soldering iron. That's CA. Don't breathe that stuff. But what I did is I shaped that one spot right there. And see, it reactivated the CA a little bit too. And I don't care if I get black stuff on there. It doesn't matter, because I'm going to be painting that in about 30 seconds here. Okay, so real quick, now that we touched CA on there, we want to clean that tip. Get a little tip conditioner and cleaner on there. And might as well, while we're talking about it, I'll show you that color, which is called International Orange. International Orange, which is right here is your part number. This is Model Masters, which is in Tester's brand. And I hope this isn't dry. That would suck if it was dry. Ooh, it's getting a little thick and rich. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take, rather than using a Q-tip for this, so I can sort of do a pseudo mix with it. And I'm just going to take this. I'm just going to go right on there. Boom. Just like so. Oh yeah, it's mixed up decently. And that's really all that's necessary to kind of restore the wonderful good looks of this beautiful plane. And by the way, this plane looks awesome in the air. You just don't want to look too close when it's on the ground. You might start seeing things you don't want to see. Whoa, what happened here? Must have been some awesome piloting. So we'll just touch that up while we're at it. So guys, in closing, and when I say in closing, we're probably still a couple of minutes away, but if I would run out of memory for some reason, one thing to keep in mind about this plane, in that it's a completely awesome plane and it's on sale, $25 off right now. I think they call it like super scale at Horizon Hobby. You could use that code and save $25. But this plane has seen a lot of rough landings and, you know, me learning a lot. And it's lived to see another day, really. I mean, if you include the repairs, it's still repairs, I guess, but, you know, it's still flying. And it's one of my favorite flying planes. I mean, it's an excellent example of a Horizon Hobby product. But it also embodies some of the annoying parts of having a Horizon Hobby product, which is that sometimes you would think that they'd be a little better at keeping parts stock, and they aren't always so good at that. So, I'm thinking on the last little bit, it's a little bit tempting to put some CA in there, because of course we can melt that out. So why don't we do that? And we'll see. We'll get a little kicker in there. Let's go CA and kicker. And then we'll bring over this rag. And one of our cottons is already over there from when we were spacing out the wheel earlier. So kicker, this, and the cotton, in case we get a little cotton. We want to keep that out of our actual mechanism here. Okay, so we're just going to let it run through. Right here in particular is what I'm concerned with. Just make it one contiguous piece of CA. Okay, one drip. One huge giant drip that doesn't run. You don't want it to run. Okay? Now we're going to take the kicker and we're going to go sneeze. Don't you drip. Don't you do it. I see you trying to drip. Stop it. Okay, and by the way, kicker plus fresh paint equals running paint. That was probably a bit of an oversight on my part. My apologies. Okay, we're just going to go over it again. Yeah, like I said, born one way to skin this cat, guys. I don't even know if this is going to be strong enough to handle a landing. But to me, it's worth trying it. I just ran my nose cone into the wall. Hope I didn't scrape off the paint since it's going to look like this. You can't get that blue paint anywhere, it seems like. Oh, by the way, I got that. When I did my tail light. Guys, thanks for watching. That's all you get for tonight. I really appreciate you liking and subscribing and sticking in there. Thanks for doing that. Have a good night.